thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives. This is Up for a Chat with Cindy O'Meara, Karen Smith, and Kim Morrison.
Here we are, up for a chat about the hottest topics that are important to you, inspiring you to awaken the change within. I'm Karen Smith.
I'm Kim Morrison.
And I'm Cindy O'Meara.
And this is going to be hilarious.
We've already started. If you could have heard the conversation in the last 15 minutes, we haven't seen each other for weeks, and I think we got out everything in 15 minutes. That's what it was like, wasn't it?
And then thought, thank goodness this wasn't being recorded.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah, because there's some secret squirrel stuff.
There is some secret squirrel stuff.
Secret squirrel. We may be able to talk about it later, but not now.
Well, I don't know that I can be trusted.
You have to be trusted.
Okay. So on this week's podcast, we thought we'd take you down the rabbit hole a little bit. We did No Spend February, and we want to report back on how we all went with that. And we also wanted to talk to you guys about a triathlon that the Spunky Kim and Cindy did this weekend, or last weekend. And I'm really, really keen to hear about it because me personally, what was I doing? Working.
As you always do.
Correctamundo. So I really want to hear all about it because the photos on Facebook look amazeballs. You guys look like when I looked at the photos, and I'm sure all of our listeners will have checked you guys out. But when I was looking at the photos, and they were after the fact, I was thinking you were about to start. But those were the photos after. So you must have still had plenty of fuel in the tank afterwards. So I'm totes keen to hear all about that. But let's talk about No Spend February. So what was the plan with February? No Spend February was that we all wouldn't spend anything other than essentials. So food and whatever else was essential. I think we also threw in charity.
Charity was fine. Mm-hmm. Food, charity,
petrol,
kids' expenses, just things that
had to be paid.
Has to be paid. So rather than having needs rather than wants.
Oh, did someone break?
Look at the look on her face.
Did someone break?
So how did we all go with that, guys?
I thought you said you didn't break.
I may have lied.
You're bloody tired.
But we have to discuss this because this was so funny. So we're at DG, okay? So
which is a chiropractic conference
with 1,000 people there and stalls everywhere.
It's a
shopper's paradise.
She said it.
It was a shopper's paradise, but nothing that we really wanted except for one store,
and
it was the barefoot shoe store.
And I figured that was a need.
Right.
All 4 pairs. 4.
Did you buy 4 pairs?
No, I'm just exaggerating.
I didn't think you did.
I just wanted to see the look on Kim's face.
Do you know, I was actually amazed with No Spend February. I actually really took it seriously.
Well done.
And I really...
she did too.
She
didn't pay cash for it.
Oh, okay, great.
She put on a credit card and told me that she'd pay next month for it.
Hey, how clever is that?
Up here for thinking.
Hey, down there for dancing and in between for romancing. Did I just say
But
that?
I just looked at her and I went, no.
Well,
No, that doesn't work.
Well, I said, I'm not technically paying for it at the moment. You know, if I put it on the credit card, I'll pay for it in March.
see, now this is the problem with people like this.
People like me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, look, they were half price. That's all I can say. They were half price.
Well,
Vivo barefoot.
I'm
half
actually going
price.
to say that I was incredibly proud of myself. I did not break. And I took a whole new mindset. In fact, I've taken such a mindset. I've continued No Spend February.
Well done, Kim.
Into No Spend March.
Yeah.
I did buy my son a pair of jeans and a pair of shoes that he needed for...
And undies, he needed them.
Undies, he
Yes,
had
he
to have
did need
undies.
them. He's growing
So fast.
I can't believe how fast that boy is growing. No wonder you needed to buy him underwear.
And his jeans just he grew out of there. And Taylor needed...
Seriously, he's just...
But for February, I did not buy them or me anything.
Well done.
Nothing. And it was we all really got on board. Even Danny was flying back in from international. Normally he buys the 3-pack of champagne for me. And I
3-pack.
And he goes, so should I get the normal things? And I went, no, honey, it's no spend February. And he goes, are you serious? Even the champagne? And I went, yeah, even the champagne. And in fact, he's been back twice since then, and I've told him each time, don't bring me the champagne, because I'm on a mission. I want to buy a house. And,
nice work.
Yeah. And so for me,
Good
that
on you.
February kick-started me, and I've just got really serious. And I think for the first time in my life, I've had a different connection and association with money. It's the first time I've ever had it. So I'm really excited. I didn't expect to have occur what's occurred for me, which is I realise how little I need. That was a big thing. Even going to the supermarket with the kids, they'd look at bananas and go, Mum, these ones are cheaper. We all got into it about how much we could save. And Jacob he went off to Japan, and he had his ski trip, obviously, in amongst all that. And he had he had his spending money, but he's paying a little bit of that off, and he's now really relating that to how much he can save. So the other day I said to him, would you like, we were waiting for Taylor, I said, shall we go and have a coffee, and you can have a milkshake? And he goes, how much is the milkshake? And I said, well, it's $6.50. And he goes, could you just put that aside into this account, and I'll put that towards my trip? And I went, wow. So it's been, and
That's
then
awesome.
because he was listening to that guy, I think it was DeMartini, who said every time you save something,
Oh yeah,
put it into an
yep.
account aside.
Yep,
So-
put it aside.
So we've even taken that on.
Yeah.
And we've got a tin in the kitchen that any of us, if we save on something, we're all putting it into the tin. So I don't know. I'm hoping within a year I might be able to buy a house.
Well done. Yeah, well done. I think that's great.
Yeah, I was really pleased. I was really chuffed because everyone kept saying to me, how are you going, how are you going? And I didn't falter. I took it on like I did my training
Yeah.
for the first time. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. How'd you go?
Well, I had to go to America, and I kept thinking, I can't remember the date we left.
The 26th.
It was the 26th, that's right. And America's a great place to spend. It really is. So anyway, we got there on the 26th, and we'd already paid for our flights and our accommodation. Everything it's paid for. And the only thing we needed was food. And I was really amazed. I bought 2 things while I was there. I bought a skirt, a little camping sports skirt, which I have on right now.
Oh, I was going to say that.
How cute is this? Isn't it
Very
cute?
cute.
So I bought that, and I bought your present, Karen. That was it.
Which she forgot to bring today, so she doesn't know what it is.
No, Karen doesn't know what it is, but it was one of those things that you looked at it and you went, that's got Karen written all over it. And I didn't
gotta be
buy,
fluffy.
and I,
Is
you know
it
what, I
fluffy?
didn't,
No, but it's pink.
it's pink though. And I didn't buy Kim anything because I kind of went, you know what, I didn't see anything that like what I saw for Karen, and I went, I didn't buy my kids anything.
Oh, wow, I'm very lucky.
No, you were the only one that got a present this time.
Oh, I'm very blessed.
Just you, and you are going to love it. It is like, oh my gosh.
I can't wait now.
I can't wait to give it to you. I cannot believe I forgot it tonight, but anyway.
Oh, wow.
So how did you go with obviously you didn't spend anything else, but I remember us having a conversation about our mindset around the money, and you've always had a very good mindset around money, and very, I would say you're very conservative with what you spend.
Yeah.
And I've never quite understood that.
But now you do.
But no, well, it's true. I get a kick out of saving money, but I never realised it. So did anything change for you during it, or?
You know what I realised? I realised that if I want something, I will buy it. If it's too expensive, I won't buy it. But if I wanted something, like if there were a pair of jeans for $20 or $30, I wouldn't think not to buy it. I would just go, well, that's all right, I can have them. I don't need any more jeans. I don't need any more shirts. I don't need any more shoes. I don't need any more of anything. And that was that whole thing in America. It was like, there's nothing I need. And you know what? They lost my luggage. And all I could think of was, I don't need anything else. I don't want to buy anything to survive the next couple of days. You better find my luggage,
Yeah.
Because when you buy, even though they're paying for it, I don't want any more stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, it was basically a real thing of, well, I really don't need that, so don't buy it. You don't need it. So I think my mindset's always been good, but I obviously, if I want it, I'll buy it. But that month I had to really, really consider it. Yeah.
All I remember that you were going to go down and get your daughter, you were going to buy something. Remember, it was was it a tablecloth you really liked?
Oh, that's right. I was going to, my daughter went, oh, I still haven't bought it, and here we are nearly into April.
Yeah.
Well, we're halfway through March.
And now you probably won't buy it. You probably don't need it.
Yeah, well, she still probably wants it. I've just forgotten about it. But she rang me and she said, I've got this ugly table, Mum, and I really want to cover it with that beautiful tablecloth that we saw. So I said to her, all right, I'll get it. And then I think I spoke to you and I said, well, I'm on a no-spend month. Does that mean my kids too? Yes, of course it does. You know, it means we're just not spending. So I rang her up and I said, honey, I'm on no-spend February. I can't buy it for you in February. I'll buy it for you in March. Now, like I said, here we are getting towards the end of March and she hasn't asked for it.
Yeah, right.
So maybe it was, you know, another thing. But she's amazing. My other daughter, my younger daughter, rings her recently and goes, who's now at university, so they're both at university, and she rings her and she goes, how do you survive? How do you survive on working part-time, going to university, paying rent, doing this? I don't know how I can survive. and Casey's answer was, you don't spend. That's it. You just don't spend. You don't spend on frivolous things. You spend on the most important things, which is your rent and your food and your fuel for your car so you can get to university and back and to work and back.
I think I also had a real appreciation for people who are on a fine line.
Yeah.
You know, really are budgeting and really... And I probably have always put myself thinking I don't have to be, but in fact, I don't think it matters what you earn.
I agree.
I actually think budgeting and being very in control of and aware of your finances, I've become very aware of silly little things I would spend money on. And so I'm very conscious of those that are on a budget, that my heart went out even more so because I thought about people that don't have the choice like us saying, oh, we'll buy it next month. And I really thought about the mums, solo parents, dads doing it really tough, or parents that have put their kids through good schools and they're doing all the best that they can, but how much parents actually sacrifice for their children and what we give up in order for our animals to have good care or our children to make sure that...
It's very expensive. They are yours.
The animals?
The animals.
Yeah, but just little things, even the food that we were buying and just looking at different choices, having a coffee when you go out and not having a coffee. Like I've got my machine now and so we go, why don't we go home and have a coffee? And I feel really excited, and a lot of the people on the Facebook page gave lots of feedback, which I thought was fantastic. A lot of people broke. A lot of people said, I broke and I'm going to do it in March. So we really want to keep hearing your feedback on this, because I think money is a topic that not the three of us are not what I'd call financial experts, or we're not advisors or anything like that, but I do think money is what makes the world go round, and I think we have to respect it as much as we do our health and our well-being, and I've never thought about it like that. So for the people that broke, I reckon give yourself another challenge and go for another month. I'm hanging in there if you want to keep doing it with me.
And I'm in there too, really.
So.
You know, like I did buy the skirt in March. I did buy the skirt. And I did buy your present. But and it's your birthday. Kimmy, it's your birthday.
So I'm suggesting that no one chooses March. Anyway,
here's the thing. I heard an amazing quote once that said, how can we expect the universe to give us any more when we don't look after what we've got? And I thought that was really powerful. And I've always been quite... I think when I was growing up, or not when I was growing up, but when I first got into boyfriends and relationships and stuff, one of the fellows that I was with, that I ended up marrying, was incredibly controlling over me in terms of money. Whereas before that it was never a problem, but he was very controlling with money and what I spent. So me being me, completely rebelled and wouldn't be told no. So I went out and spent whatever I wanted. Granted, I didn't have a great deal to spend, but, you know, if I came home with a $5 singlet, there was something to say about it. So there was always this massive blue, because I would never be told no. I was not submissive. Anyway, the relationship ended after 12 months. But that kind of set a foundation in terms of how I related to myself with money. And that same pattern, I've just recently discovered, is the same relationship that I have with food, and it's the same relationship that I have with the same relationship that I have with food, the same relationship I have with money, and the same relationship I have with work. I will not be told no, and I can't even tell myself no. And that's the part that's really fascinating me right now, is that it doesn't matter what it is. Part of me wants it, part of me is ferociously saying no. But the minute I say no to myself, there's an internal battle that goes on, and the part of me that said no is never going to win. Doesn't matter what it is, they're never going to win. And the interesting thing about us talking about money is that, you know, of late I've really needed to pull the purse strings in for lots of different reasons, and I've really needed to rein myself back in, and it's been really challenging. So I started doing some research, as I do, on what happens in the brain when we spend. And it's an amazing concept that the brain has this reward centre. So when we spend and we buy money, the reward centre secretes all of its wonderful neurotransmitters, and we start to feel really fantastic, and the dopamine levels are all there, and you know everything's swimming along fabulously. But we don't get the same sensation of reward when we save, because there's a mental setup that we have in society that spending, because we know everything gets marketed to us, there's lots of ads on television, buy this, buy now, get steak knives with that, there's all this incentive to buy, and consumerism is encouraged. So from a almost a physiological perspective, we're set up to buy. And then the concept of saving, we're not set up to get the same sensation of reward when we save. So we've got to create that for ourselves. We've got to make that for ourselves, because society and the world outside is not going to give that to us. And there's a real reality. I interviewed an amazing man, and oh my goodness, he was very spunky. His name's Peter Audette, and he is one of Australia's leading financial strategists. And he was actually saying, you know, in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, at the bottom we've got our need for food and for shelter. But then anything above that is kind of superfluous. Once we've got our food and our shelter, the only things that really matter from there is love and companionship and friendship. And he made an amazing point. He said, you can go out and buy a more expensive car, which is cool, because you'll look good, you'll feel that reward come through, but it will not increase your happiness. It may momentarily, purely from a physiological perspective, but it will not increase your happiness, because when all of your friends are flying to Fiji and you can't afford to go with them, then you're not going to love your car so much, because you're going to realise that, in fact, your friendship and the love is actually more important to you than the money that you have to pay on your car. And the sense of being trapped, of having a more expensive car, because now you've got to earn an income to facilitate that. And I thought it was just an amazing perspective in terms of looking at it as looking at money in the context of happiness. Because all we want as humans is happiness, and happiness requires food and shelter. We don't have to have the bigger house, we don't have to have more clothes, because it doesn't increase the level of happiness. And when it does, it's temporary at best and momentary. It's momentary. That sensation of reward, it's momentary. I mean, I did buy a new GHD hair straightener yesterday. I'm just putting that in. It's a necessity. Well, I don't know, because I've still got the old one and it still works, but I just wanted a new one. And, well, it's got bigger plates, you know, the big wide plates? Yeah. So I bought that one, and I went, that's going to make me feel great, because now I'll be able to look after my hair better, and and I actually brought home and threw it in the cupboard, and there it is, and it's just sitting there now, and it has no sensation for me, because I've become so aware since No Spend February and my total dressing down for buying barefoot shoes.
I did give her
the silent look.
The look where no words are required.
Correct. It was just the eye.
Well, the thing is that what was the funny thing is she put on these pair of boots, flat boots, no heel in them whatsoever,
and a lace up the front.
And these are the barefoot boots. And so she comes and she shows me, and I went, "It's not you. There's no heel in them. No."
And so when chiropractors are trying to get me into flat shoes, I go over to the chiropractor's wife and say, will this do? She says, no, it's not good for you. It doesn't look good. There's no heel in it, love.
I'm trying to not let it suit you. Because I was over there, and I got to admit, they were boots that I like. You know, I'm the flat boot.
So good.
They did look good on me. They did look good on me. But I just tended to go and I went, sorry, no spend February. I can't have them now.
The other interesting thing I noticed was my language around money for No Spend February. So I had to become mindful of my children. I made a comment to Jacob he really wants this skateboard. He's got right into a skateboard, and he's doing the whole, Mum, it means I'll be outside, I won't be inside on my computer, and he's kept selling it to me.
He's good. He's
very,
good.
very good.
He's very smooth.
Yeah, very smooth, very smooth.
And he's growing tall too.
Yeah. And
very good looking, I've noticed.
and he waited for February to be up, so he's now selling me on this thing.
Funny.
Anyway.
Mum, buy it for me for your birthday.
Yeah. I love that. He would think that was the best thing out. Funny thing is, as a mum, I would love to just go and buy it for him. You know, I just love doing it. So I love buying gifts. That's the other thing. I really enjoy buying gifts. It's not a money thing. It's just
the feeling
getting the right thing. Like you saying that when you saw that gift for Karen, it was just that was just ideal. Yeah. Anyway, I said to Jacob, honey, now's not the time to be talking to me about buying a skateboard. We do not have the money for it. We are not spending any money, and no, I'm sorry, not until you've paid off the final little bit of your holiday that you went away with your uncle to Japan. No. And a couple of days later, he said to me, I have to say something to you. Here we go. I said, what's wrong? And he goes, I really don't like your language. And I went, oh my gosh, what? I thought I'd sworn or said something. But he goes, I really don't like that mentality of not having enough. And he said, and I said, well, what would you have rather I'd said? He talked about the skateboard. And he goes, I would rather you'd said is, well, we can't get it right now, but how could we go about getting it? And I went, oh my gosh, because I've been thinking about that for years. I've always thought about not saying no.
Oh,
but
I so have the answer for that.
Mm-hmm.
I so have the answer for that on how to say no. You give them an option, then say no, then you give them an option. Okay. So if you think of it in your mind as a plus, minus, plus. So say, you know what? We can get that in 3 months' time when you've done X, Y, and Z. Because right now it's not an option. But the other alternative is we could do X, Y, and Z for it. What do you reckon?
I like that.
Yeah. It always works. Always works. And it's the way to say no to them that gets their mind and their brain thinking of the alternative rather than hearing the no and then fighting against the no.
Well, funny you should say that. I don't know if I did it properly, but I said to him, okay, well, let's think about the skateboard again. This is something you really want. How are you going to pay it off? And he goes, I can't even get a job. I don't know what to do. So he comes into the lounge and he's got the tin that we've got in the kitchen. He's got another one of those. He's wrapped paper around it and written on it, Jacob's ski tour. And he wanted to go around door knocking.
Oh no!
That's.
And I said, Jacob, that's stealing. You can't. That's not a charity. And he goes, yeah, it's Jacob's charity. I've got to pay off my ski trip in order to get my skateboard.
Oh no!
And
what a funny fella!
I know. And I said, well, I can't knock your ingenuity, but no, that won't be happening, and safety. And then he told me he had 6 friends that would go with him and the whole thing. And anyway, we talked about that.
And what was he going to say? Hi, I want to go on a ski. I need to pay for a ski trip.
I think he would have. I think he genuinely would have probably lied and said it was for a school trip or something. I think he would have. I know Jacob. He would have tried everything and anything he could.
That is so funny
to make it sound worthwhile. But anyway, he has worked out a plan, and then the plan is this. It's actually been put on lay-by. So he got the deposit.
Work.
He had the deposit in his bank account. He paid some money back to Uncle, and then he cleaned my car and helped to do some things around the house, which generated $20, which he then went, and we went into the shop. He chose what he wants to have, and I said to him, because to me it's also about not having instant gratification.
Totally.
So it's about earning it and wanting it and really working for it. And so he now has 3 months to earn it and to pay it off, and if he doesn't pay it within the 3 months, he loses his deposit. So he's on a mission. And so I feel like I didn't say no. I kind of tried to turn it around, but I gave him an alternative. But he also still has to earn it. Like, I can't. I'm just not going to. And he's got money in the bank, but I said, no, that money is not to be touched. It's got to be re-earned, which is an interesting thing because I had an email come in the post in the email today saying, would you participate in a survey? Have you ever been financially abused? And there was a whole thing in there around financial abuse, so being in relationships where people control you, or being in a situation like us where we lost everything with the corporation that collapsed. And in my early 20s, I didn't think I knew how to handle money. And so the guy I was in a relationship with, who was quite a lot older than me, said he'd look after it all. For 2 years, I was earning nearly $1,000 a week. I was working my butt off, so excited about how much money I was saving. And unbeknown to me, he was actually an alcoholic. and a gambler, and I had no idea that all that money that I had thought I was saving was actually being spent. So when I came home, when I returned from Melbourne to live back in New Zealand, and I was with Danny, and I said to him, I've just got to see how much money I've got in my bank account. Rang the bank account, and in fact it was $5,000 overdrawn. It was just mortifying. For 2 years I'd worked my butt off trying to...
And you trusted him?
I so trusted him.
Oh my gosh.
So I kind of thought maybe...
You do trust people.
I do. I'm a little bit
very trusting.
And I think that's been my learning, and probably now with having to run my business and having to be accountable now, and that No Spend February probably was a very big aha for me, thanks to you two girls.
But I think that's important to think about that, though, in terms of, do you trust other people with your money?
Well, I've been told since nobody will look after your money the way
like
you will.
Exactly. And even if you give it to a corporation that's doing really well, or even the share market, you have to keep an eye on it. You have to keep looking at it. You can't just give it to the share market and then go, all right, well, make money for me. I believe if you put money into your business, if you can continue to reinvest in you and your business rather than anyone else's. I know Howard and I, we invested in we did a venture capital to a business that we thought would do very well. But we weren't running the business.
That's right.
And this is the other thing is that while we have a No Spend February personally, businesses, what they do is that they make a lot of money and they think, great, they'll either go on a holiday or do something else with it, and then they go broke. And the only reason they're going broke is that they're not, really, really watching their budget or growing at a decent rate, rather than let's just grow everything and borrow 50 million and let's do it, and then they lose. Look at CleanMade lost $60 million. They were obviously not growing right.
Look at Qantas at the moment.
Yeah, look at Qantas. Oh gosh, I'd hate for Qantas to go down. So it's not only about our personal finances; it's about businesses too, and it is about giving your money away. And that's one of the things Howard and I learnt very early on in our marriage, is that we did give away some money and we lost it. We lost it completely. We had no recourse for it. And then that was the day I said to Howard, everything we do ourselves. We do not give our money away anymore. And we did do that venture capital, I must admit, but I just said to him, look, see, we went against what we said we would do. And true, we've still got shares in that, but it's not, I think we've had it in there 10 years and we've not had a dividend. I'd love that money to come back, but, it just doesn't come back. So yeah, I think.
Well, I carried that on into my business as well. So we had No Spend February for the business, and I'm really being very careful. I'm actually, because I think, like Kaz always says it, how you do one thing, you do all things.
Yeah.
And so I've been very mindful across the whole board as to how we're trying to manage it. Now, I'm not saying I've got it right, so I really would like to ask for your coaching, both of you. But I just think. This was a great aha for me, and I really am grateful we did it, and I hope some of our listeners got the same feeling, and I'd love to hear your feedback on any of you if you've taken it on, because I think it's a massive responsibility, and I've just always thought money would be there. I never realised you could lose money. I never really thought you could lose it as quickly as you made it, or lose it quicker than you made it.
I also think we have to realise that money is recycled. It has to be recycled. So there is spending that's needed to be done. And if you choose to spend on good quality foods and fuel and, tuition for our children, or tuition or education for ourselves, that we're that type of consumers that consume, they're the
consumables?
Consumables that we consume. As opposed to, some people, they just love clothes and they love shoes and they love those things, but their food is not that important to them. So they'll eat McDonald's hamburgers but go out and that's okay. That's the money going around. That's the recycling of money, and we have to spend money to make money. It's all part of it. So it's not like we're holding on to it, like that guy who felt that we could change the economy of Australia by going on a No Spend February.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
There was for those of you that don't know, there was a comment
hilarious.
on Facebook.
Oh, that was hilarious that he thought we had that much power that we would change the economy of Australia.
Great.
Yeah. Up for a chat. Power Plus.
if we can change the economy of Australia, perhaps we can stop testing on animals for cosmetics.
Absolutely, absolutely. But so anything else just to finalise the money thing, because I thought it was a great.
Yeah, I thought it was
really
good too.
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
I think the magical part about that is that it sets the wheels in motion. It sets the wheels in motion because you're becoming very aware and very present to it, and becoming very clear on the value of money. No matter how much you've got or how much you don't have, I think that having an understanding and an intimate relationship with the value of money, I think, is almost representative of the intimate relationship that we have with life. Because money is a flow of energy, and it's a flow of what makes the world go round, as you say. I mean, we can't pretend we don't live in this world. We do. And it is what makes the world go round. So how does our world go around, you know? And
I think also having an appreciation of what you do spend your money on. So someone said to me, "Oh, Kim, you're shooting yourself in the foot. People aren't going to buy your oils then." And I thought, well, maybe they won't. But I got an extra 3 speaking engagements that month. And I thought maybe that was the universe saying, well, you might not be selling as many oils this month, but look, we've given you an opportunity for 3.
And congratulations, because it's all about that. It's all about that you've decided that you want to buy a house, and you put it out to the universe, and you've taken the steps, and you've put it into action exactly what you want to do, and all of a sudden 3 more speaking engagements come.
Well, what was also funny is, you know how I said I had to buy Jacob a pair of pants and his shoes? We walked all around, because now he's 14, and I'm sure parents out there with 14-year-olds will know that it's not just a pair of pants.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
It was chinos or something or other. So we went into all the different places, went into surf shops. They were all like $99 a pair of pants, $110. Then they said, oh, look, Jacob's, because he's at that in-between stage. He's not a young man, but he's not a boy anymore, and he's got these long legs. And so we went into then Country Road, and I'm standing there in Country Road going,
Oh, the $210.
yeah. And they didn't fit. And then she turns around and she goes, have you tried Myers? And I thought, oh, okay. So I went into Myers. They were down from $69.95 down to $29.95, so $30.
Oh, sweet.
No, what's even funnier is as I open my wallet, there's a $20 Myers card in there.
Perfect.
And on top of that, I had on my Myers thing, I had another $20. So she said, you've got $10 to spend. And we said, well, actually, we don't need to spend it, so we'll just have to change things. But it was like, I didn't even have to buy it. Like, I was so excited. So even having that mentality was like, oh my gosh. I said to, and on top of that, I went to the mailbox that day. I opened up my mailbox, and there was a refund from Suncorp. I'd overpaid my insurance for $375. I'm going, I quite like no spend February. I was making money.
No spend February actually means I get paid February. That's cool.
It was really amazing.
Perfect.
It was amazing.
Awesome.
And, you know, one of the things that I think we need to point out here is that we may be right, we may be wrong. You know, we don't know. But what I do know that we do is that we offer a different way of thinking.
Different perspective.
Yeah, and we recently had a comment on our thyroid, our 2 thyroid podcasts that we did. And the girl said that we should have put a disclaimer on it because we know nothing about the thyroid and the hormones, and that just because a hormone is something, it doesn't mean that it's connected to the hormone. And I kind of went, I answered her, and then I said to her, what we are about is about offering a different way of thinking. Just because something is common doesn't mean it's the truth.
Absolutely.
And that's what this No Spend February is about. Some people might think we're a bit crazy, but all we're doing is offering another idea. And the whole thyroid thing, you know, like medicine looks at thyroid and says the thyroid is, needs thyroxine if it's, not doing well. And that's all they do. They don't look at the rest of the body. They look at it segmented. And we looked at it holistically. We looked at the chemicals that we put on our skin. We looked at the food that we were eating. We talked about iodine. We looked at autoimmune disease with it.
And then we went down the rabbit hole.
There we did with mind, and I said, behavioural epigenetics is like, it's a new science. So I think it's important that people realise that this is what this podcast's about, is that we think differently. The 3 of us think differently in 3 very different areas.
And I think the other thing is that we started this with 3 of us having a chat, and people have been invited to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if we listened in on other conversations out there, we'd be horrified at some things that people said, and we'd also be really excited by some things people said. So I appreciate we've got a responsibility, but I think there's a disclaimer at the beginning and the end of all of the Wellness Couch podcasts. So I was really impressed with the research you'd done around that whole thyroid thing. I thought it was fascinating, and in fact I've referred quite a few people, particularly that have been diagnosed with things like Hashimoto's. I actually thought that was one of the most powerful conversations we'd heard, and someone else complained that we babble a bit, and you know, that's part of being three.
We will own up to that one.
That's part of being three girls sitting in a room having a chat.
But you know what? We only touched the tip of the iceberg on thyroid. And I'm creating an education program with Changing Habits, and one of the biggest things will be a whole month on the endocrine system and the importance of it and all the factors that we need to look at, you know. So I think that people realise that this is a conversation between three people, and we offer our point of view. And yes, we have disclaimers to say, you know, go to your health practitioner. I'm not saying you have to go to a medical doctor, but go to your preferred health practitioner.
I think we say that in every conversation, though. Every time we talk, we say, look, you know, don't take my word as gospel. Just take it as a point to consider or a perspective. I think we say that just about in every...
But you know what? I take your word as gospel, Karen.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I listen to you.
I actually do. I take yours. I take yours and I just ask Cindy.
And
Cindy actually, what's Kim doing right now?
Exactly.
I put a post on Facebook this morning. I don't want to exercise. Yeah, what would Kim? I was sitting there biting my nails, waiting for you.
But you know, what cracked me up is how many people answered you,
and they all said the same thing.
73.
I know.
And I think they all said the same thing, Millie.
73 people all said go for the run, and I was just sitting there. I thought, any minute now, any minute now. It's just a matter of time, and you never did.
I did. I was about halfway down.
Yeah.
I put it in
really?
there. Yeah, you might have missed it because as soon as I put it on there,
too.
yeah, you did. Karen was deciding whether she should go for a run or get stuck into the office. And as soon as I saw it, I went, go for your run. In fact, I even told you how to do it. Go for a 20-minute run. Take your watch on the 6th, 10th, 14th and 18th minute.
Go hard
out. You'll be back home. Your endorphins will be running rampant and you'll get your office work done in half the time. That's what I suggested.
Well, I must have missed that one completely.
See, she's got the white noise.
White noise. And you know what? I think you could do the bike run
Sorry?
for the triathlon.
Yes. Maybe you should join the team as well.
Yeah. But you could be, And if you don't want to exercise at all, you could be our mind motivator. So
I'll be the cheerleader on the side.
Well, we all need cheerleaders. Everybody in life needs a cheerleader.
No, I would like to think that I can get my freckle into gear.
Well, we had a ball.
I'll bet you
did.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it, because you looked so bloody fabulous after you completed. You look like you've just started.
I think what was fascinating is the mindset, wasn't it? Like what happened with us and
with me especially.
So what did you have to do? So you did the swim,
I did the
Cindy?
swim, and then
and how far did you have to swim?
1.5k around an island.
And did you do it in the ocean?
No, we didn't.
Right.
And we did it in the river because the ocean was huge.
Yeah.
They cancelled the ocean swim 2 days before and put it into the river, which just made me go, yay. Just to be relieved to be in the river, because the river's flat and there's no waves for me to get out on.
And were there any yucky things that...
No, a lot of oil, because my beautiful togs, I put my new pair on that had a white lining, are now black. Absolutely black. So there was a lot of oil in the river, but I didn't smell it at all. But you know what? You know what's interesting is Kim ran the 10k. Kirsty rode 40k against a headwind halfway.
Wow!
And then I did the swim in the river. And, you know, 2 months ago we made the decision that we would do this triathlon, and Kirsty actually rang Kim and I and said, do you want to be in a team? And I went, yeah, I'll do the swim. And you know, Kim, of course, being the runner that she is. And I went, oh, geez, I better start training, because I haven't trained to do a swim in years, in probably 10, 15 years. So I started training in the ocean, and twice we've had cyclones nearby, and getting out and getting back into the land is hard work. And quite scary. So I have gotten into this pattern of almost I know it's going to take me a bit to get out there. Once I'm out there, I'm relaxed, and then I know it's going to take me a bit to get back in. So I have set up this, I'm sure, this anchor pattern. And remember, I saw you that one day, and I'd really had a fright.
Yeah.
And no matter what, I would have my heart racing while I was getting out to the ocean, and then when I was swimming, I was fine. And then for the most part, getting out was easy because we usually got out at an end where there's not a lot of swell. So I start the race. Confident as anything. No, I can do the 1.5k. It's in the river. This is easy.
Were you nervous?
No, I wasn't. I didn't think I was nervous. I was, like we all had to go to the toilet before we started.
Twice. I don't know why we're nervous.
I don't know why. So maybe that was a nervous wee.
And it was hilarious. My son and daughter were there, and Cindy's daughter Tanya was there, and Howie, and we're all standing there. We'd had chiropractic adjustments the night before. We had a big, beautiful meal the night before. I posted on Facebook the picture of our meal. We were prepared athletes, actually.
Here we were.
And
Well-trained.
early to bed, everything. Well, we get down there, and there's thousands of people everywhere, thousands, but very, very well organised. And then I looked at Kirsty and Cindy and I said, "Where does the run go?" And they cracked up and "You have no idea where the run goes." And I went, "No, I've got no idea where the run goes." I hadn't looked at it. They'd all been down to look at their course, but I hadn't seen my course.
Oh,
and then you're not
I
joking.
looked it up on the computer. I knew exactly where I was going.
I had no idea.
We knew the currents.
Jacob turns around and goes, "Well, it's not like you need to worry, really, is it? It's not like you're going to be first out of the rank." I thought, fair call. Fair call.
You just have to follow the
I'll
leader.
just follow the leader. That was a very good point.
Trust him to say something
I know.
You don't need to really worry. I mean, you'll be following someone.
What was so funny is when I did start the run section is I ended up somehow on my own, and there actually was no one around me. So I sort of passed a couple of people.
She
and then
bolted.
I did.
Did she?
Oh, boy.
I didn't mean to. I just kind of got the adrenaline thing and took off. But then I was on my own. I didn't know which way to go.
Oh no! So did you do 15k?
Probably. But just to say the end, how we did, we came sixth.
I think that's like
In the corporate
uber.
women's team, we came sixth.
We were so
So we were pretty
That is
tough.
awesome.
Yeah. So I started off, the swim starts, and I'm prepared.
So the swim was the first leg.
First leg, I'm prepared, I'm excited, I'm ready. Howard's got me on the edge. He's told me the currents, where to go, where the tide's going.
Oh, I love him.
I have everything organised and I know my race plan.
Right.
And I just go out with a bang. I'm like, and I get past the first pontoon, which is not far, and I go into, I can't get my breath, and I'm like going, what am I doing out here? What the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I'm seriously, I am an absolute lunatic.
panicked.
I went into absolute panic. For no reason. I'm swimming, I'm not near anybody else. Howard told me to stay out on my right. And you know what? I can only put it down to
Goodness. Wow.
I have anchored the first part of my swim
Yeah.
as a point of panic to get out to the ocean.
Right.
And I think I'd anchored it. And I'd say for the first 400 metres, I ended up doing backstroke just to get my breath because I knew I couldn't quit. That was the one thing I knew I couldn't do. Even though I really wanted to, I wanted to get the lifesaver. He was cute too. I wanted to get him and just pick me up. I don't want to do this anymore.
So what do you think? So you think it was the anchor, because the beginning part of your race is obviously a fight.
Yes, it is.
And so you were in a race, so the same, because the mind actually doesn't know the difference between whether you're in the ocean or whether you're in the lake. All that it understands is that the first part is a fight. Mm-hmm. So if you in your mind have thought, I'm in a race, that equals fight, it's going to give you the same experience as to when you're going out into the ocean, fight against the waves to get out and have nervous anxiety and have all of that kind of stuff. And of course that makes you weaker. So it's even more of a fight because you're physically weaker. Mm. So it doesn't matter where you are, if you associate the race with getting out there and really pounding to get through, it's the same fight.
And how do you break it?
Yeah.
Well, it's the more you do it, the more habituated that belief system or that neurological pattern gets laid down. The way that you break it is you break the pattern, and you interrupt the pattern right from the very beginning, and if you can catch it at the very first thought, you're on your way. There's some processes that I can take you guys through, or I can actually put some stuff on the internet about it. Neurolinguistic programming is awesome for that, for interrupting the patterns. But really, you've got to catch yourself at the first thought. So it becomes a necessity to be very vigilant with yourself, and it's almost like you have to become the observer. And without getting too rabbit hole-ish, there's you that's doing the talking. So when you were in the river and you were going, oh my God, just get me out, I don't want to do this anymore, this is terrible, what am I doing, I can't get my breath. There was you that was doing the talking, but then there was another part of you that was doing the listening. Because if you're talking, what part of you is doing the listening? There's a part of you that's actually hearing you say all of it.
She's gone down the rabbit hole.
I love it.
But I get it. I get you right.
Yeah,
You're right.
There always feels like there's two people inside.
yeah.
There's the part of you that wants to keep doing it because you can't quit.
Yes.
And you've got this commitment, and so it's not an option, but you're going to bitch and moan about it the whole way, and you're going to, you're going to make yourself weak.
Throw a
and,
tantrum.
yeah, you're going to throw a little tantrum.
You want to throw a tantrum?
So the part of you that's committed to staying in it is listening, if you like, and the part of you that wants out is doing all the yelling and the screaming. So the part of you that's doing the listening, that's the part of you that actually has to say enough. No more of that. Where am I? What's my reality right now? What's my reality right now? My reality right now is I'm putting one arm over the other. Can I breathe? Yes, I do that naturally, and it comes to me without any effort. What am I doing now? Well, I'm putting my other arm over the other. So to interrupt the pattern of that yelling and screaming and discontent, the part of you that's doing the listening, that's the part that has to bring the logic. But for the most part, what happens is that we do the scream and the I'm not happy, I'm not happy, I'm not happy, and we allow that to escalate. And as that escalates, of course, the sensation internally escalates because the neurological pattern's been laid down and the neurotransmitters are meeting that pattern beautifully. So to interrupt it, I would say, first things first, catch it at the first thought. If you even know that there's a possibility that you might feel that way, catch it at the time that you think you know. If you don't know and it just comes across, it just occurs to you unconsciously or it just happens automatically, you have to become aware that that's how you're feeling. So you have to be paying attention to the part of you that's listening more than you're paying attention to the part that's doing the screaming. And then become logical purely by becoming present in the moment. That's the only way. Become present in the moment. What am I doing right now? I'm screaming and carrying on. Yes, I get that. But what am I actually doing right now? Well, I'm putting one arm into the water. And now what am I doing? Well, now I'm doing this. And now what am I doing? And you have to, it's almost like you want to try and raise your voice above the sound of the scream.
With control.
That's the logic. And it's the presentness.
Which obviously took over at around the 300-400 mark.
Yes.
You know, my listening brain, I actually said, enough, you can do this, you know you can do it. I had got my breath on my back and I turned around and then I started to pass everybody. I was passing not only my group, but I started to pass...
Michael Phelps.
There were pink caps ahead of me, lime green caps and green caps. So I had passed all those three. So, you know, I was angry at myself because I could have done a better job, but I still did. Like when I look at my time now, I still did a very good job.
Sounds like you did a wicked job.
Yeah.
But see, you've interrupted the pattern there already, because what you did was you stayed in it rather than letting yourself get out. You stayed in it and you rolled over onto your back and you allowed yourself to catch your breath. So you didn't give in. That's part of the process. Next time, you might be aware that might happen. When you're swimming in the ocean and you know that it's got to be a bit of a fight out there, you have to get a reframe for that. You have to reframe that. When you say it's going to be a struggle to get out there or it's hard to get out there,
you have to reframe, you're right.
You have to get a new reference for it.
Well, I went and did it Monday. So I swam on Sunday and then I went, right, I'm getting back in the water. It's like, to me, it was like getting back on a horse. You have to get back on the horse. So I went back out on Monday, I went back out on Tuesday, and so I just kept going back out.
Did you have the same thought?
Probably Monday, but today... for probably a second or two, I had that thought and that feeling, and I just went, I've got to get out of this. I've got to stop it. And so I probably was listening a bit more. But also, in fairness to the predicament, is that the ocean had calmed down. Like, we've had big waves.
Huge
waves. And, you know... Getting out today was far easier, even though there were a few big waves that came through. Getting out was far easier than it has been. So I have to go out in times when I am scared, maybe. And I don't know. I don't know the answer to it, but I like your idea, and I've got to start doing that. I've got to start, you know, when I'm kicking and screaming, I've got to start doing what you said, go and listen to the listener.
You know, I think this happens for top athletes. It happens
Oh, my
for
goodness.
amateurs. It happens
Absolutely.
to everybody. I had the same thing
Yeah,
happen.
you talk about your experience. Because you should see Kimmy run. Kim just took off like a little rabbit. She's gone. And she sprinted home like a rabbit.
Oh, I
and
loved the finish.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And Kirsty was the same. Kirsty she said she was on such a high when she finished.
Oh, really?
Unbelievable. And I was on a high when I finished. I was on a biggest high. And although Kim found me dazed.
Cindy has left the building.
I've left the building dazed and confused by the time she found me. But yeah, you talk about your run.
I think the experience that we're sharing, we're not suggesting anyone has to do a triathlon, but this is a metaphor for life. This is how we react in all situations, which is why I love physical activity. But, I mean, I was nervous. I'd been to the toilet 4 times. 5 times actually before I actually ran, and yet what? It's not like I was doing an Olympic trial. It's not like I had
run
to win.
10Ks most days.
I run 10Ks a lot of the time. Why was I nervous? I don't know, but part of me didn't want to let the team down, and another part of me realised that these girls all know that I run. So, what if I blew a calf? Or like I was having another conversation in my head of failing them, which was interesting. Because I didn't want them to know that I was afraid I wouldn't finish, because they all had such high expectations I'd finish. So I was having it in another conversation. So anyway, I took off. Couldn't wait to take off, because once I get running, I'm fine. But took off and then found myself alone, which was hilarious, as I came up into the main area of the Mooloolaba Triathlon where all the crowds are. And you do get a bit overwhelmed, like everybody's just yelling and cheering. And plus the other psychological thing is, as you're taking off, people are finishing. So there's a little bit of a psychological battle there where you go, oh my gosh, they've just finished the 10Ks and I've got to go and run 10Ks, and I'm puffed now because I've just come up this hill, and I probably took off fast because of the adrenaline.
Just sprinted. I have this great photo of her. Her legs were wide apart. She was flying.
We should post that picture because I didn't realise how fast it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, got up there and I was fine. I felt great. It was also 36 degrees and we were running now in the middle of the day.
Oh, hell.
So it was about 11 when you started.
It was 11 o'clock when I took off. And,
Oh, my.
And so, but I'm used to running in the heat, so that didn't bother me. And I was actually, I like running in the heat, but a lot of people were struggling. There were people with hoses out and they're drinking waters and all that sort of thing. So it was easy as far as support.
Yeah.
So I got down up over the first part of Alex Hill. So there's 3 hills in this run, which hills are psychological in themselves. But anyway, I got over the first one, did the first turn. I had this girl running with me and she wouldn't leave me alone, and I kind of didn't let her out of my sight, and we both had orange shorts on. And we couldn't have our music playing or anything. So I normally...
can't?
No, you can't have a Walkman on. Not a Walkman, gosh.
Oh, a Walkman. God, you're showing your
Oh, my
age.
gosh. I don't know why I keep calling it that. iPod.
She took off just before you, because when you were coming around the corner and I was taking photos, I actually took a photo of her thinking it was you coming around the corner.
Well, she was, and she was sort of running at my pace. And because I didn't have my iPod on, I didn't know what my pace was. I don't know what I run at. But anyway, then I kind of was running with her and I thought, that's a good pace. It's nice, and we didn't have to talk, and it was just nice. And we were passing people, and a couple of guys were passing us, people there, and that was okay. I could handle that. But if girls passed me, I kind of went, don't like this. So, but usually
The
the
old
girls...
competitive Kimmy
I
comes
know,
out.
I don't know what it is. I know. Anyway, so we got down to the turnaround point, and I decided I didn't want this girl running with me anymore. I don't know. I like running on my own.
You
like
took
running
off,
by
didn't
myself.
you?
And I just took off.
Yeah.
I knew I was at halfway, and I was feeling really good. And so anyway, I took off, and I was heading back to the start because it was 3 loops. And as I'm coming back now, that you've got to go back up Alex Hill, which doesn't seem much, but when you're running and you're running at a fairly good pace, it's a tough hill. But most people started walking, and to me, I had this saying in my head, hills are my friends, hills are my friends, hills are my friends. I love hills. So whenever I see a hill, most people go, oh, I hate hills. Oh, I hate them. But ever since I was 19, I was told by Cliffy Young is to make hills your friends. So I'm always like, oh, I love hills. They just work me more than I can. And no hill is ever going to beat me. That was the other thing I decided. Even if I crawled up it, no hill will beat me. Anyway, so I was passing quite a few people, feeling amazing, thinking, oh my gosh, I've hit the 6K mark. There's only 4Ks to go. I am so probably on a good time here. Turn around and massive headwind. Massive. It was like, it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I all of a sudden started puffing because I was trying to keep the same pace. And then all of a sudden everything started hurting. And then I thought, I think I've got a blister starting. And then my knee hurt. And then I was thinking, oh my gosh, is that my calf? Is my calf going to go? So this is the talk that's going on in my head. And the other voice is going, oh, shut up, you're fine. And then that voice kept going, no, I'm not. I think you did 500 step-ups yesterday. You were telling everyone how great you were for doing that. But in fact, oh my God, what a stupid thing to do the day before a 10K race. What are you thinking? And this voice was going on around my head. And then the other one turned around and went, now look at yourself. Look at yourself. You've just been whinging for the last 50 metres and you've just run 50 metres. That was the logic coming in. Yeah, and then I'd go, so why don't you just run another 50 metres while you're whinging? Keep up your whinge. So I actually did a U and went, keep up your whinge then. See what you like, because I'm going to keep running while you whinge.
Yeah.
This was the conversation in my head. And then all of a sudden the pain went. And then all of a sudden I'm down the hill and I'm now coming around to the last turn. And then it was the last turn of the race. And this girl that had been, all these people that had passed me at the beginning were now in my eyesight. So I just took them all off one by one. Just picked them all off one by one. And then coming up to the finish, I heard these guys yelling out, oh my God, it's Kimmy, like this. And Jacob was there going, go, Mum. And as soon as I hear go, Mum, I almost want to cry.
Oh, yeah.
And then they were all emotional. I know. And I got all emotional. And then this guy, he was running, and he'd passed me at the very beginning. And I went right up to him. I went, what, you going to let a girl pass you? Like this.
Did you? Was that when you were near us?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And I went, what, you going to let a girl pass you? And he goes, I can't do it. And I went, I can, like this. And I felt $1 million. Yeah. It was like, if you'd said to me I had to run another 10Ks, I would have gone, okay, sorry, I didn't get my time right, I'll go again. It was phenomenal.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
But that I don't think it matters in any situation. I reckon all of us, I don't think we'd be human beings if we didn't have these doubting conversations or self-sabotaging things, or you're useless, or you're not good enough, or you're going to fail.
I want to quit.
I want to quit.
Yeah.
I do think that's part
of... Get the handsome lifesaver to get me.
Yeah.
Well, now that's another story.
Well, you know, I wouldn't call that quitting. I would call that an opportunity.
She says opportunity like a tart, and I say experimenting.
Sorry, you were saying.
But I also listened, I've got this wonderful album that I listen to a lot, and it is designed for top footballers in America, so it's probably, a lot of people out there probably wouldn't enjoy listening to it, but I love it because I think of it in relation to running, in relation to business, in relation to my No Spend February, and one of the key quotes in there is, you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I really think that every time I feel uncomfortable, even with money or anything, I go, just got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because
write that on my hand.
Unless we feel uncomfortable, we're not extending ourselves. So I decided that I'm in my comfort zone if I'm not feeling uncomfortable, which is nice to take a break. And I don't believe it's wrong to not, I don't think we should always be uncomfortable, but I really love that. And the other thing I got was, when you're feeling pain and wanting to quit, the other line in there is that when you're feeling like that, the mind has left the body. Your mind has actually left the connection to the body. And when your mind has left that connection, you're now not connected to what the physicality and the ability of what the body's able to do. And that's how I likened it. So every time I found my mind, and where's my mind? Never mind. But it did, and I noticed that my mind, when it was tantruming, is that a word? When it was going into those moments of disbelief or self-non-ability or any of that sort of conversation, I actually wasn't listening to my body. I had left my body. They were disconnected, whereas you've always said, we can work in harmony, and it's about having that congruency and that ability to actually acknowledge, I think we acknowledge pain when we feel it, but also know that pain is also like the tide. It comes and it goes. We are not in constant pain.
It's really interesting, actually. The whole complexity of it is really fascinating, because whenever we get upset or we start to have that inner tantrum, it's never about the situation that's at hand. It's never about what's occurring right there and then. It's always about a past experience that we are relating a similar feeling to. So, Cindy, when you're in the water or when you're running or whatever the case is, it's never about being in the water, and it's never about the run. It's always about, well, hang on a second, I felt this pain before, or I felt this fight, or I felt this struggle before. And it goes back to somewhere probably when you were 3 or 5. And you're just recreating it for yourself, and it comes wrapped in a different package, but it's never about what's in front of you. which is where, getting present to the actual reality. Like you were saying, Kim, what am I doing now? Well, I've just run 50 metres. So you keep whinging, knock yourself, just go for it. Knock yourself out, like rip in. I'm going to keep running. Because what you did was you brought yourself to the present. And by bringing yourself to the present, you don't stay trapped in the unconscious experience of what occurred when you were 3 or 5. You actually you actually relate to the present moment of, well, there's another step. Oh, good on you, you just took another step.
That's exactly what my conversation was.
Oh, that's brilliant. They've taken another step. Yeah, you want to bitch and moan, go for it, but I'm taking other steps. So it's where the adult you that's aware and present today takes over and brings you to the present moment, as opposed to, as you say, when the mind leaves the body, it's almost as if the awareness leaves the body.
Yes.
The awareness of the present moment leaves the body, because all of a sudden now you have pain in your knee and you have fear, or you have doubt, and you have questioning. And you've had doubt and you've had fear and you've had questioning since you were like 5 years old. And the first time it ever happened, it felt really hard. When you first doubted yourself, or you first thought, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I won't make this, or maybe this world I'm not right for this world, and you felt like an alien, it comes in different extremities, but there's a time when all of us realise that who we are may not be good enough. And that's a tough realisation, and generally it happens between the ages of 3 and 7. And then once we get that, life just continues to show us more examples of where we're not good enough, and running or doing whatever it is just simply a recreation of that. But it's not reality. Reality is, I'm on a hill, I'm running up Alexandra Hills or Headland, and I'm in a marathon, a triathlon, and I'm having a fat time actually. And look at me, I just put another step forward. Or look at me, I just swam another metre. I rock.
And you know what I think also was a really positive thing, and maybe we can take this in any life situation. When I was feeling that doubt, and if it was getting a bit loud or whatever, I'd think of Cindy, and I'd think of Kirsty, and I'd think, oh my gosh, those two are finished and they're waiting for me, and they're hoping that I'm going to come to the end, and I've got my children here cheering me on, and oh my gosh, people, and look at all these people on the sideline, no one's doing this, we're actually out here. I mean, it's easier to buy a ticket to an event than it is to put the event on.
Yeah.
And we'd earned that, and we'd done that, and these two are on such a high, it fed me their high of finishing and completing, and knowing that they'd had their own little battles and demons and self-doubt, and yet they'd still done it. And I think sometimes taking the emphasis off yourself and putting it into those that you're perhaps maybe you're running for, or you're working for, or you're working towards, or people have come out to support you. How can you, I mean, I know that if I had blown a calf and I was limping home, or I had to have been taken off, these girls would not have had any less respect or love for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
At all. They would have known that in my heart, they know that I would have given it my all. So that was the other conversation I kept having. Well, what's the worst that can happen? You could hurt yourself. You might fall over. Well, that's not happening. Look, you've just taken another 10 steps. So keep going, you know. And I think that conversation in the head, I love these, because as an athlete and being married to an athlete for so long, that's why I love using my running as a metaphor for life, because that's how I doubt and believe in myself in business. It's a direct, there's a constant pulling and giving.
The ebb and flow of it. And the important thing is to not resist it. So what you did was perfect. Let it be. Let it have its voice, because if you try and stop it, then you're putting your energy into saying no, and that's even more detrimental, and it also makes you weaker. But while ever you are saying no and paying attention to that, your body is weakened. Make no mistake about it. So the quicker you can say, the quicker you can get into your head, wow, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I don't need to be weak right now. In fact, I really want to feel awesome. So, okay, I'm not going to tell you to go away, because I recognise that you're part of me. You're there. Good on you. Knock yourself out. You keep whinging and carrying on, but I'm going to focus on what's in front of me. I'm going to be very present to the people that are supporting me. I'm going to be very present to the hill. I'm going to be very present to the experience. I'm going to enjoy the feeling of the water. What does the water feel like as it's rushing over my head? As it sifts through my fingers, what does that feel like? So what you're doing, you're not actually distracting yourself. You're just becoming very present, because there's a distinction between distraction and present mind. Because you don't want to be distracted, because then that's just trying to resist what's there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Distraction is the greatest cause for failure.
Well, and you're likely to fall and hurt yourself and all that.
Yeah, because when you're not present to what you're doing, particularly in a runner on a hill and water or
and when you're around all these swimmers and you've got all the
Absolutely.
You've got to follow, you've got to be left of one thing and right of the next, and then you've got hundreds of swimmers around you. It does. And what you were saying, Karen, is that it had nothing to do with that race. I was totally prepared. I can swim. I swim in that river every day of my life. I live on that river. I swim in the ocean every day. It was something else. Yeah. So now I have to conquer that, and I have to figure out, well, I'm just going to do what you said. I'm really going to really be mindful of when I go in and when I start to have that feeling come over me. And
really I think the
key,
what Karen said, and I didn't realise, but maybe that's been a winner for me for many times, is actually not trying to shut it up.
Yeah.
And actually go, hi, here you are. There you are.
Yeah.
I was waiting for you. Bless your heart. Knock yourself off.
Knock yourself out. Make me go mad. Crazy. Not breathe.
And then you realise there's actually 4 of you in there.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
And sometimes there's 8. I'm just saying. Next thing you'll see, they'll be cutting me off in a bloody straitjacket. But the other thing I just want to say, just as a little hint or just as a little helper, in neuro-linguistic programming, what we do in terms of pattern interrupts is we look at the way that you see that particular experience. So we would say, okay, so what do you see when you're getting in the ocean? What when you're getting in the ocean or you're about to go into the ocean, what's your picture that you see? And what's the feeling that you get, and what's the sound that you hear, and are there any colours that are important? So whatever you see, whatever you feel, and whatever you hear, you want to do the opposite of it. So if you see, when you think of yourself going in the ocean, do you see big waves swallowing you up?
Crashing on me.
Crashing on you.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
That's the thing, is I can get under a wave,
Yep.
I can get over a wave, but if they crash on me...
You're going to get chundered up.
Well, I know how not to get chundered up, but it still frightens me when, when you're under there and there's a huge wave just crashing on you.
And they're dumping.
You can feel the pressure on your ears, and as long as you're low, it's fine. But, yeah, that's my biggest thing. It's going to crash on me. And I look at them and I go, oh, they're so big, if that gets on me, where am I going to, where am I going to end up? Nowhere. I'm just on the bottom and I'll pop up.
Well, and that's the reality, isn't it?
That is the reality of it.
You might get the wind knocked out of you, but that's actually the reality. So you want to think about the way you see it, and perhaps even write it down. What do I see when I think about going in the ocean? What do I hear? What do I feel? And write all of those things down, and then consider the direct opposite of each of those things. And there's a little bit more to it, which I'll do with you personally, but it's about being prepared to see what you see differently, but through the eyes of reality, rather than seeing what you see through the eyes of a 5-year-old child who's still experiencing the same fear. And we're all like that. Every time we feel fear, it's got nothing to do with today. It's got everything to do with 5 years old.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there you go. How exciting.
Yeah.
I really love get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm so going for a run in the morning.
Oh, wow. That was a real breakthrough, wasn't it?
I'll text you.
I'll tell you what, I'm up grabbing a plane fairly early, so I'll text you about 4. Is that okay?
OMG.
No, 5. No, you name your time.
Okay.
You name your time.
Shite. I wasn't expecting accountability.
Accountability. And what is it? Get comfortable
with being uncomfortable.
Okay, get comfortable with. You're going to get that one.
Because I'm doing a team run in May.
Are you?
On the Gold Coast with 3 girls. It's a colour run, neon run.
Nice.
It's a neon run.
It's 5K? Is that a 5K run? Or?
They've got a 5 and I think they've got a 10. Yeah,
That's fantastic.
I know. But do you think I can get myself out there?
Guess what I just said yes to?
Oh, yes.
What?
Crazy Kim.
What?
I said yes to the Kokoda Challenge.
You'll love that.
But it's not at Kokoda.
Where is that?
No, this is not.
Oh, I've seen this. This is on the Gold Coast.
Yeah. This
That's
is
fabulous. You'll love that. You'll have a fat time.
Yes.
97K in 39 hours. No sleeping.
Oh,
Yes.
most uncivilized.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
Oh, love, you can do
I'll
it.
keep you posted.
I'll come chopper you out.
I got to raise $1,500
No,
for
you
the Kakoti Youth Foundation. For the
I'll
camp.
chopper you out.
And I'll be your cheerleader.
Well, we need 4 support team. If anyone wants to be on our support team,
I'll
we
come
need
and
4
support you.
people.
I'll bring some pom-poms.
Oh, that's really going to help. You'd want to kill her.
Yeah, you would. You'd want to kill her.
On the 38th hour. Come on, Kimmy!
Oh, no,
Give me a cane, give
no,
me an
38th
eye,
hour's
give me
fine.
an
It'll be like the
eye.
16th hour. Yeah. When there's someone's been all happy and chirpy and you're looking like death.
Oh, I could think of nothing worse. Okay, so on that note, that brings our podcast to an end for this week. So keep us posted and let us know your thoughts. Go to the Facebook page at allthews.facebook.com/up for a chat. Or you can also make your comments on this particular page here on the Wellness Couch, which is allthews.thewellnesscouch.com/up for a chat. And I got it right this time. Shut the front door. And the back. And the back. So join us here next week on Up for a Chat and become part of the ripple effect that's changing the world. We're going to see you on the run.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/The Wellness Couch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives. Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.